Grade Podcast. Another podcast episode, another legend. We have the 2025 GBWC 13 Philippines Gold winner, Mr. Liquid Form himself. But before all that, allow us to welcome you to another episode of the Perfect Grade Podcast, your favorite show where we talk about anything and everything Gundam under the sun. This podcast would be possible without our partners, Vivian Blue, and your go-to online store for anime goods. Use our coupon code Perfect Grade Studios. That's capital PGS, no space. And Armored Komodo, the best hobby paint brand for people who want pro-level results. Go to www.armoredkomodo/Perfect Grade Studios. Check them out by clicking on our affiliate links found in the description below. I am one of your hosts, Reynan, and alongside me is none other than the Perfect Grade rockstar, Miguel, and the Mecha Uncle himself, the man behind OG Builds, Eric. And for today's guest, the man who will represent the country this coming GBWC Finals, the GBWC 12 Bronze Awardee and GBWC 13 Philippines Gold Award winner, the man behind Liquid Form Studio, none other than Mr. Kim Henovia. Woo! Sir, did I pronounce your last name right? Was it Henovia ba?
Yeah.
Henovia.
Yeah.
Welcome,
Sir. Thank you so much.
Sir.
Hello.
Of course, congratulations before we start, sir. Congratulations on winning the gold. And thank you so much, sir, for making time to be here with us. So, kamusta kayo?
Yeah. Thank you also. Glad to be here.
Kamusta kayo, sir? Fresh from the win.
Okay naman. Ah,
Man of few words, no?
hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kamusta sir yung after winning, how was it for you? Is there any changes dun sa atmosphere, sa people been chatting you, been sending you messages?
On my personal account, yung yung initial na po sa FB, yun, nakaka-overwhelm kasi daming nagpo-congratulate ka nun.
I would imagine.
Tapos yung mga personal messages, may mga nagme-message din, congratulations on winning, ganun. Yan.
How are you feeling with the win? Ikaw, sir, personally, how are you feeling right now?
Me? Ako?
Opo.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
You're good.
You're good.
Oh.
Parang normal na araw. It's like a normal day for...
Sobrang
Hindi, just kind of busy with yung sa business, tapos yung prepping for the new store, yung sa bar. Dami pa kasing gagawin mga ganun. Tapos workout sa yung bagong menu, workout, ganun. Yun, kasi nagdagdag kasi ako ng mga coffee or mga crop sa bar, so new to kami yung sa market.
You know, maybe one day Perfect Grade Studios might take a vacation din sa Bacolod. We might drop by your bar.
Yeah, sure.
Is it alright we drop by?
Plano ko pa nga gawin ng parang art studio kasi may mezzanine sa itaas. Plano ko gawin parang art studio. Ganun style. With lounge. Tapos may lounge, ganun. Yan.
Mag-host kayo ng mga doon, mga workshops, sir.
Pwede. Kasi may mga tables and chairs naman tapos air condition. So, pwede. Pero pag sa workshop, kasi siguro mga handful lang na attendees. Dito Bacolod kasi hindi masyado dito sa Bacolod yung yung Gunpla. Parang nawala na wala na masyado community dito sa Gunpla sa Bacolod. Ganun.
Sir, di ba
Pag meron man bumibili sa mga store, sa mga department store ng Gundam, hindi active masyado sa Facebook or wala sa community or snap build yun. Karamihan snap build.
Mga lang talaga, collectors lang.
So, mga casual builder, gano'n. Pero hindi active sa Facebook. Kumbaga.
You should display, sir, your masterpieces, drillers.
Ah,
You should display your masterpiece sa drillers para maengganyo yung mga taga Bacolod when they visit your bar. Like,
oo, yun nga sabi ko kay ano eh, sabi ko kay Albertito, yung head dito sa ano, sa sabihan, sinabi ko na sabihan niya si Sir Del na baka pwede mag-display dito. Kaso yung sa Toys R Us dito, maliit lang yung store, so wala masyadong space. Yan. Walang space for display.
Toys R Us lang po ba yun? Or is there also a Toy Kingdom or other toy stores that are...
Wala Toy Kingdom. Toys R Us lang.
Ah, okay.
Oh.
Bali, the only brand
Yung sa SM, di ba sa SM Toy Kingdom yun? Yung sa SM.
Yes, SM is Toy Kingdom.
Yun. Meron kami sa SM. Pero kukunti lang yung mga stocks. Kukunti lang yung mga stocks.
Ibig sabihin, there's so much potential for Gunpla to grow in the area. It means that there's so much potential for Gunpla to grow in the area.
Depends kasi wala kasi sa niche yung mga tao dito sa Gunpla eh. Tapos not into customization or painting. Parang parang yung turing nila is just toy. Yan.
Toy. Collection, toy.
Yeah. Collection lang, oh.
So, sir, you previously owned a hobby shop, no? Eric was able to research.
Yes.
Was that in Bacolod?
Yeah. May shop before pop-up. Yeah. Oo.
And you're running that store.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I had to close it down kasi parang wala na masyado wala nang sales. Tapos ang hirap sa totoo lang, ang hirap na mag-motivate ng mga bata dito sa especially on skill model or gunpla. Ang hirap Unlike there in Manila na sobrang sikat yung gunpla, nakita ko nga yung during GBWC, grabe yung pila. 2 GBWC na napuntahan ko. So, yun, grabe talaga yung pila yung sa in terms of sales. Tapos daming spectators kasi sikat na sikat yung gunpla dito. Gunpla sa Manila. Pero dito hindi masyado.
So,
okay. From when to when did you run that pub?
Matagal-tagal na rin. I close it down mga 2020. Oo, 2020. I opened it up mga 2016, ganun.
4 years, Ayun.
Tagal din.
Yeah.
Tagal din.
Oo.
So, let's go. Let's start with the some questions. So since we're in the topic of hobby and gunpla in Bacolod, so sir, did you grow up in Bacolod?
Yeah.
So how did you start with the gunpla? When you were a kid, ba? When did it start?
No, I started doing gunpla when I saw it in Toys R Us. I was particularly attracted to the Comfort. My first kit was Comfort, yung HG, Comfort Amazing. Yeah, yan. Sa totoo lang, wala akong knowledge sa Gundam before that. Kasi I grew up watching Voltes 5, Mazinger Z, ganon, mga Daimos, Voltron. Yan ang mga pinapanood ko dati. Ayun.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So when did you start? Sorry,
Ah.
when did you start customizing? Like getting into the thick of like painting it, you're going full head into the hobby.
Yeah, funny story because I started painting bootleg kits, HG bootleg kits. Tapos I painted on runners pa. Tapos I hang it on a hanger. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Wala pa akong tools. Tapos all I got is spray can. Tapos sobrang kapal pa lang yung paint ko. Ayun.
Yeah.
Sobrang kapal. Kapal pati yung mga peg. Pati yung mga peg male, female, pinain ko din. So, ayaw snap together. Ayan. Yeah, that was my first. Tapos, yung pag manner of painting it, nilagay ko pa sa wire so that I could hang it with a clothes hanger with a clip
Okay.
like that. Tapos spray ko ng clear coat. Yun. So, tapos sobrang kapal kasi gusto ko shiny talaga. So, yun. Up to a point na nag-run yung paint.
Bakit sir? Bakit nyo naisipan gawin? Mag-start mag-paint? Meron ba kayong nakita na nag-motivate sa inyo?
Sa mga Facebook page,
Mm.
konti pa lang yung mga dati, di ba? Yung
Mhm.
konti pa yung mga pages dati at mga groups. So, I started joining, don't know if you can remember this group that before. It's called I Build Gundam Models and Proud of It. Yun na yung first group ko na sinalihan yung mga international group. Yun.
Okay.
You remember that group? I don't know if they're
local group yan.
hindi international.
Okay.
Yun.
Hanapin.
Yung local group is really yan ko way after na I joined an international group. So yun, doon ko nakita yung mga nagpa-paint, mga trial and error, tapos wala pa masyadong mga kumbaga bago pa lang yung mga gunpla painting dati.
Was it this one?
Parang bagong pa lang, hindi pa norms, tapos wala pa masyadong mga tools, paints. Unlike before, unlike now, grabe sobrang dami ng mga tools at saka paints, di ba?
Mm.
Oo nga eh.
Dati Bosni lang eh. Oo, Bosni. Oo. Bosni boy Bosni.
Boy Bosni.
Yeah,
Parehas tayo dyan, sir.
Pang
Nung
top
nag-start
coat.
ako, boss ni din ako.
Oo. Tapos when I first got my airbrush, I was so excited and very misinformed that I didn't know about tinting. I just poured the paint into an airbrush. So, yan, nag-clog.
Oh no.
Yan, hindi ko na I didn't know about tinting pa
I think we all
before.
had that mistake. Yeah, I think we all experienced that kind of mistake.
Yeah. It was hell getting the paint out of the airbrush because it clogged all the way.
Oh no.
Okay. Anong paint yun, sir, kung naalala niyo pa?
Ano pa yun? Hindi yan gunpla paint. Ano yun? Miniature paint pa yun. P3. Alam niyo yung P3? Kasi meron dito kasi miniature hobby shop na nagsasell ng mga miniatures, Warhammers, and the likes. Tapos yung paint nila, sobrang kapal yung acrylic paint na P3 brand. Yun.
P3?
Akala ko airbrushable, so nilagay ko sa bote without tinning it. So yun, lesson learned.
So parang ano pa yun, sir? No? Parang Nestle cream pa yung...
Exactly. Yeah. Yogurt.
Yogurt. Pwede mo ipalaman sa tinapay.
Pero that was the time around. What year?
Matagal na yan eh.
And I don't think knowledge about thinning paints was very readily available.
Yeah. Tapos daming dispute sa online, daming pang bashers at daming doon. Mga experts, especially on that group na which is I Build Gundam Models and Proud of It. Yeah. Tapos daming doon, daming trolls, daming nang aaway. Mali lang yung kakapost mo, aawayin ka na. Dati nga gumamit ako yung bumili ako ng HG na ground type, yung may mga tanks.
Mm-hmm.
Yung may kasamang tanks at kasama mga figures. Tapos ginamit ko sapagkat hindi pa nipper yan, nail cutter.
Okay.
Sobra old school.
Yan, wala pa akong knowledge sa mga nipper, mga ganun kasi. Nail cutter ginamit ko. kung hindi nila cutter yung nipper sa kuko.
Yeah.
Yan.
Yeah,
Gumamit din ako nun.
Same.
Oo.
Ako rin gumamit ako. When I was 10 years old.
Tapos deep cuts pa. Binasa ko sa online na deep cuts daw. Sabi ko, ano yung deep cuts? Yun pala, doon ko na-discover na very, yung mga community sa mga ganon. Dapat perfect yung pagka-build mo, mga ganon. Tapos konting mali mo lang. Ibapas ka na kagad. Daming expert. Oo.
I could imagine the community before is very harsh.
Actually,
Yeah.
Actually,
kahit noong 2020,
harsh na rin sila.
Well, I think, personally speaking, I think the community now is a bit more lenient.
I think.
Or more forgiving.
Or more forgiving.
Maybe. Dati kasi for me, yung mga nag-gunpla dati sobrang daming mga purists at saka so parang mga diehard talaga sa plastic model. Sabi ko pa kasi dami din ako mga bootlegs before. So magkaparehas lang naman mga plastic yan eh. Yan yung logic ko, mga same lang plastic. Iba lang yung plastic quality. Yan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that issue will never die down.
Yeah.
I mean, there are still groups in Facebook here that that are still debating on which is better, but they just don't accept the fact that it's still the same hobby.
Yeah.
So Miguel here actually has prepared questions regarding your styles and techniques. Mix, you wanna take it away?
Okay, sir. So, we started doing research. Nakita namin na nag-sketch ka. So, do you have an art background?
Sir?
Yeah, drawing lang.
Oh, lang talaga as in hobby lang na. Kailan kayo nauna ba yung sketch nyo before kayo nag-gun?
Maliit pa ako. Mahilig ako mag-drawing ng robot. Actually, maliit pa lang ako. Mga Voltes 5, Voltron, Mazinger Z, tapos kino-color ko ng crayons, ganun. Or colored markers, ganun, mga ganun.
Okay. Tapos slowly transition that nung na-discover nyo na yung sa Gunpla pala, kailan nyo na-discover na there are wide variety of things? Kasi pansin ko sa workshop.
Yung when I started customizing, simple lang yung pag-start ko ng pag-custom kasi I started with just when I got a hang of using airbrush. I started using modulation, tapos shading, tapos I started experimenting with different parts. So I use like ballpoint of a pen for thrusters, yung Unipen, maganda yung kasi yung niya, yung tip ng pen niya. So ginawa ko yun sa camphor. Tapos mga dandan lang, tapos yung mga stainless buttons na nilagay ko sa mga mga areas na parang maganda tingnan yung pag may buttons, ganun, stainless buttons. So mga metal parts, ganun. Yun. Tapos yun, laki din inspiration ko kay Alice kasi matagal na siya nagko-customize, so grabe sobrang mga ako sa kanya dati na sabi ko grabe yung pagkaka-customize, tapos at dami niya naisipan na mga techniques, grabe. Tapos yun, piniem ko siya, naging friends kami sa Facebook at saka Messenger. Yun, parang siya yung first na coach ko sa sa pagko-custom, si Sir Alice, Mr. Ten. Dati si Alice, sikat na yun eh. 10 years ago, sikat na si Alice eh. Natagal na siya, Nag-start siya kasi sa mga military, tapos nag-ano siya.
I think we can
tapos,
call it the
Yeah, Godfather. Oo. Tapos sobrang kulit ko, dami kong tinatanong sa kanya. Yun. Kasi interested ako in learning. So, yun, dami kong tinatanong sa kanya.
Yeah.
Mga techniques. Yun.
We actually had him on last 2 weeks ago. We recorded an episode.
Yeah.
And he mentioned
Yeah.
that he's the one who pushed or convinced you to join this year's GPWC.
Yeah. Wasn't actually planning to join because naging busy nga dito sa Bacolod sa work at saka sa business. Pero I decided to join just for the badge lang sana kasi I want we're going to Manila anyway to check my daughter's ng staying place there in UP because she wanted to go to De La Salle. So there's a place it's like a condo. So we check it out on that day mismo in October. So I said to myself, why not join the GBWC na lang? Kahit for the badge na lang ganun. Yun, yung original plan ko was for the badge lang, wala akong masyadong plano na manalo sana. Kaso as time progressed, as I build, sabi ko at least maka top 5 lang, okay na. Tapos tapos as time goes on, siguro sabi ko siguro mas maganda kung top 3. Pero di ko inakala na manalo ng championship, ganun.
Yeah, wala. Inuwi yung ginto eh. Brought home the gold.
Yeah.
The gold tuloy.
Wala, the gold tuloy. Ganyan dapat approach pag sa mga competition. Huwag mong expect na mananalo ka.
Honestly, wala akong expectations.
Okay.
So Alice was telling us that you wanted to quit because you felt like you didn't weren't gonna meet the deadline.
Yeah. Because I work on it on a very short amount of time and then rush pa. So grabe yung pag-double time ko diyan. Lalo na on the 3 weeks na remaining. Grabe.
Did it look rushed?
As in yung I can feel the rush talaga na yung mag-paint up ko dito, magigigil ako dito, tapos mag-work on the rama dito. Ganun. So, all at the same time.
Oo. Okay. Sir, we just want to know kasi we noticed that your builds are high level, very detailed from the first build I saw from your page was the Random Set EXS Sentinel.
Yeah, EXS, I have it in the office.
Yeah. And ang pangalan niyo pa nun is Liquid Form Model Art.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
that's it.
Yeah, I want to know. I want to pick your brain. So how do you approach designing and planning a custom? So paano niyo siya iniisip?
Okay. So, mga extra details and detailing work, mahilig talaga ako sa mga detailing work. Tapos sa mga piston, additional mga notches here and there. Yun, tapos additional armor modification, yung mga hindi masyado manonotice ng regular viewer, yung yun, sa shoulder, scratch build yan lahat, pati sa loob. Yun, modified yan. Tapos yung piston, scratch build din, yun. Tapos may modify ako na parang opening flap, ganon, sa likod.
Yeah, I saw that. Yung parang meron pa siyang hatch opening.
Oo, may opening hatch.
Yung sa ano yun is parang malaking protruding na booster. Functional ba yun?
Yung booster?
Ay, yung nag-open hatch. Functional.
Functional yun. Nagpo-close open yan. Tapos when it close perfectly kasi sinukat ko talaga yung mga tawag dito, yung hatches.
Oh.
Yan.
Grabe.
So,
paano niyo ito iniisip? Parang how do you plan this out? Do you do a blueprint first?
Hindi naman, dami-dami ding inspiration from other modelers na mahilig sa mga detailing work, ganun. Mga extra detailing work, yun. Tapos, I got some parts from other scraps, tapos, linagay ko dyan sa kit, ganun. Parang mga minor detailing lang. Yan.
Mm. So, let's go to your GBW. So, kasi parang, ang ano kasi honestly, hindi ko na notice na kayo yun.
No.
Yeah, yung nakita ko yung entry na tinenter niyo si GBW. Parang, ang alam ko kasi, parang more technical builds kayo. Tapos, parang nakita ko, fantasy na rin.
Oo, kasi, hindi ko kasi alam taste ng mga judges eh. So, pag sobrang technical, baka hindi rin mapansin yung mga ganun kasi lalo na bago yung mga judges, di ba? Yung mga judges, unlike before na kay Kaguchi na alam natin lahat na may league sa technicalities. Yun. So, last year, tapos 3 pa sila yun. So, siguro nagka-conflict din yung mga taste nila. Yun. Pero wala lahat naman tayo siguro walang idea sa mga judges last year, di ba? Yung mga background nila. So I didn't know how to approach. So kung pag nag-technical ako masyado, pag hindi na lang naman ma-notice, baka sayang lang yung so I decided to go on massive impact at first impression yung last year. Yun, gusto ko. Kaya ginamit ko Nightingale kasi out of the box malaki na yung Nightingale. Yun. Tapos nilagyan ko lang mga flarings and everything. Yun. So gusto ko kasi pag nag-enter ako sa competition, gusto ko malayo pa lang na noticeable na sa judges. Bali noticeable na sa judges, malayo pa lang. Tapos, yung tipong, uy, ano yun? Parang okay yan tapos lalapitan, tapos doon titingnan nila maigi up close and personal yung entry mo, di ba? Pero dapat malayo pa lang nakuha mo na attention nila. Parang ganun yung approach.
Okay, sir, ito. Pwede niyo wag i-reveal. Pero paano niyo masasabi na noticeable ang malayo pa? Kung paano
sa silhouette.
Silhouette. Okay.
Sa silhouette mismo. As a whole, kahit black and white pa yan, yung black lang yung parang yung di ba pag secret reveal si Bandai sa bagong kit, dapat di ba naka-silhouette lang tapos white lang background. Parang ganon na style na dapat doon pa lang makikita mo na yung form. Ganon.
Okay.
Yan.
So, okay, you mentioned na inspired ka sa inspired ka by other modelers. Tapos you mentioned din kanina na inspired ka ni Sir Alex. So, maliban kay Sir Alex, sino pang influence when it comes to building? And overall your art practice.
Gandaan ko yung gawa niya yung art style ni John Pern. I don't know if I can pronounce his name right. Jun Pern, yung Malaysian, Islander yata.
Is this the recent winner?
Yung may dragon, yung last year yung may dragon. Yung sinadyo na may dragon last year. Yeah. Tapos this year yung gold na parang yung style niya this year parang Digimon na parang
he posted his work.
Yeah, he won. I think he won silver.
He won silver.
Ganda ng style niya kasi fantasy. Hindi siya reliant sa sa Gundam Universe. So meron siyang kanyang sariling style.
Lumalabas siya. He goes out of the more.
Yeah. Yeah, ganda yun.
Jumrern.
June Learn.
Yeah, Jumrern.
Ganda na yung mga previous work yan. Sobrang ganda yung mga previous work. Tapos galing niya mag-hand paint ng mga pattern.
Oo.
Yung galing niya mag freehand paint ng mga patterns.
Parang
Ayan, mga
tattoo.
previous work niya pa. Parang tattoo. Parang Japanese na, no? Tattoo artist.
Mm-mm.
Speaking of Japanese, pansin din namin, sir, na parang malaking influence yung Japanese art style sa work nyo. Is it something that you're favorite?
In this particular work or in my work in general?
Your work in general, kasi say for example, I've noticed you are samurai. You've been painting figures, samurai figures. Your recent work is, I think, Japanese inspired now.
Oo.
So
Yun.
would you say that it's a big influence to your work?
Yeah. Especially din sa mga yung mga work nila ni Naoki na sobrang linis at sa simple detailing lang pero sobrang linis. Yun.
Yeah.
Tapos yung sa style naman, I think Japanese team is like almost everybody's favorite. So yun. Madali kasi yung mga sa Pinoy kasi mahilig sila sa mga Japanese team na na influence kumbaga. Yun. Yung sa anime, manga, mga ganun, mga pop culture. Yun.
Yeah.
So I think they can relate easily sa mga Japanese na tema.
Okay. Tsaka ano rin, sir, pansin ko rin sa EXS niya. Sorry, super big fan ako ng Bitcoin.
Thank you.
Parang mayroong, I can see yung influence of Verka.
Oo, dami din yan, no? Ganda din mga very influential din actually yung mga gawa niya eh. Superstar.
Yeah.
Hopefully I can meet him someday.
Sayang, sir.
Yeah.
Nung PSMS nandun siya.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's why nga gusto ko sumali pa PSMS next year.
Yun.
Yan. Kasi daming mga idolo natin yan nasa PSMS.
Oo nga eh.
Actually, na international.
I'm very curious. With everything that you said about detailing and everything, where did you learn all of these?
Yung pag-detailing?
Yes, sir.
Imagination lang. Tapos practical work, yung for example, detailing on open hatch, parang may engineering na din na na halo na engineering kasi dapat pag nag-close open yan, dapat perfect. Yung walang friction, di ba? Parang ganun. Oo.
Are you by profession engineer? Do you have an engineering background?
Wala. Architectural background. Pero pero yung yun nga sabi ko, I should have been an engineer na lang kasi doon ko lang nalaman sa Gunpla na mahilig pala ako mga ganun klaseng work. Yung mga practical at saka na work, mga technical work. Ganun.
Engineering, sir, or industrial? Either engineering yan or industrial.
Yeah. Oo.
Ang galing kasi we interviewed Sir Alice the recent episode and he shared that he is into construction.
Yeah.
So it makes sense na yung parang may relate niya with with his
Oo.
builds kasi he knows the foundation on how to do construction. Diba?
Oo.
Then yours, you have architectural background. So it makes sense also when it comes to your work that has this, architectural feel. And you know what to do already.
Mm. Okay, sir. So, okay, ito, fun question. So, what part of the build process do you enjoy the most? Tapos, and which part tends to be the most challenging for you?
Ano. I enjoy the most when customizing, sculpting kasi parang ano ka hindi ka limited sa manual. Ang
Ah,
haters ko sa lahat yung mag-snap build actually.
Parehas tayo dyan, sir.
Nakakapagod snap building tapos hahanapin mo pa mga parts, malalaglag yung mga parts ganun. Yun. So, tapos mag-rely ka sa manual. Whereas kung pag customize, scratch build, free for all. Parang wala ka nang pina-follow na pattern. So, gawa ka ng sarili mong pattern pa ganun. Yan.
Okay.
Tapos pag sculpting, painting, yan. Challenging din yung sculpting kasi parang dami mong minimodify sa kit. Tapos for example, yung sa last build ko sa yung para ma-fit ko lahat, dami ko pang technique ginamit para ma-fit yung ginamit ako para mga um, kit gun, para mag-expand yung binders ng fascia tree para mag-fit sa likod ng leg ng dome. Yan. Ginamit ko doon kasi may Kisatria Kisatria, Dom, Zaco, tapos yung iba, mga Delansa na yung mga maliliit na parts sa kinuha ko. Delansa, SD na Nightingale. Yan. Yan. Tapos Hygog, sa face ng monster, yung binder, ginamit ko binder ng Kisatria, tsaka likod ng Hygog yata. Yung Hygog, yung blue na HG kit.
Ay,
Yan, in-incorporate ko yung nila, yung dalawang kit.
So, yung mukha dun, sir, in-sculpt yun? Di ba para may maskara doon na porcelain?
Yeah, oo.
Oh my God.
Scorpion sculpt.
where did you learn how to sculpt?
On my own lang, actually.
On your own. Really?
Oo. On my own lang.
And I've seen your previous Facebook posts na you have been big figures. Like, I think you sculpted a Wolverine figure.
Yeah, oo. 1/6. 1/6. Hindi. Malaki yun. So, 1/4 scale yata.
And
Kaso, ang problema, nagka-crack.
From scratch yun.
Oo, from scratch. Yung ginamit ko, Sculpey pa. So, tapos dami kong crack sa nun. So, palpak yung nagawa yun.
What materials do you use for sculpting mga ganito?
Yung ginamit ko na sa sculpting, mainly Alteco na epoxy.
Alteco.
Yeah. Na epoxy. Ito. Yun. Ito. Yun.
Okay.
Mix mo yan, A and B. Equal portion. Saka mag-harden na. Maganda sa Alteco kasi nag-relate sa mga small details. So, hindi siya katulad ng mga nung nansag na pag parang maliliit na detailing, gagamitan mo ng mini grinder, nagka-crack or nag-chip off. Sa Alteco, hindi kasi matibay ang Alteco. Tapos, mura lang naman, 100 plus yung isa sa pair.
And these materials are not just limited to like hardware work.
Hardware materials, yeah. Industrial materials.
Industrial, yeah, that's the term. So you could
Yeah.
safely use also for the hobby.
Yeah.
And then, would you say that this is your signature style? when you say sculpting? In terms of sculpting, would you say this is your
Yeah, maybe. Oo. Oo.
Kasi parang out
Pag
of
sa pa kasi, hmm?
Ay, sorry. So, kasi parang out of every entry in this year's GBWC, correct me if I'm wrong, pero I think ikaw yung bukod-tanging nag-turn ng something that, built from sculpting and from scratch.
Ano yan? Medyo choppy. Hello?
Ah, sorry. Hello. So, I think
Yeah.
out of every entry in this year's GBWC, I think yours was the only one that has sculpted from scratch.
Some parts, yes. May nakita rin yung kay Richard, yung ibang gawa niya, sculpting
right.
din na yung ginamit niya sa PG Wing. May mga parts siya na hand sculpted din. Yan.
Oh. Well,
Oo.
we will discover that on our next episode because you'll be up next.
Yeah. Si
Yeah, so-
Richard, yung nag-third.
Yeah, si
Oo.
Richard yung nag-third.
Oo.
Yeah. He's a very sweet guy actually. Nakausap namin after. Yeah.
Na-interview na din.
So up next, ano yung nakaschedule up next.
Oo.
So let's talk about your GBWC, your 2025 and your 2025.
Yeah.
Kasi what did you do or how did you start with these entries? What's your creative process?
I started by sketching, drawing ko muna yung shape. For example, I already have a shape in mind, so tapos a kit in mind to use. So dinevelop ko lang yung mechanics on how to put it all together. Tapos yun. So nag-start muna sa drawing. Let's say last year I wanted to use a nightingale. So ano pwede ko gawin diyan? So ginawa ko, inelongate ko yung nightingale using two hips. Yung isang hip nun sa likod is from a hama-hama kit. Dalawang hips yun eh. Notice nyo medyo mahaba siya. Yun. Tapos ginamitan ko ng Keshatria binder sa leg. Was supposed to extend pasana yung maliit na leg ng Keshatria. Parang siya, parang yung style parang bubuyog na queen bee na style, parang ganun. Kasi was planning to put a wing pa sana, insect wing sana doon. Was planning to build from scratch an insect wing, parang yan sa likod, parang symbolize sa a bee. Yan.
Okay.
So wait lang.
Oo.
Para siyang
Do you remember
Final Fantasy VII?
Yun nga, dami nagsabi parang Emerald Weapon daw.
Or
Yeah,
yung
tama.
G.
Oo.
Okay, sir. Kung anong element nito? Anong element nito? Pag tinawag
Element
niyo siya
ng Actually, I haven't played Final Fantasy Remake. Hindi ko pa nalaro. Oo.
Pero
So,
mukhang ano to.
Ayun nga.
Oo. Oo. Pero going into that, yung I wanted to be like a boss fight, yung parang siya yung final boss, parang ganun, parang sa Elden Ring, parang ganun. Ayun.
Actually, you
Oo.
succeeded in showing that na parang nga siyang boss to beat at that time. It looks like
Oo,
something
parang
that
ganun.
you had to beat. Imagine mo, you have
Yeah.
this small noble that, and then like, oh my god, you're so big. Ganun yung dating.
Oo.
Yeah, it looks so powerful actually.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what happened with the wings, but why didn't you push through with the wing?
Parang sobra na yata kasi. So when I put a sample, I use wax paper. wax
Okay.
paper to replicate the wing as a draft pa lang, so hindi pa plastic. So ginamitan ko ng wax, parang unnecessary na for me. So
Right.
tinanggal ko na lang.
Parang it looks
Oo.
too much, ano?
Oo.
Yeah.
Oo.
So would you say that
Pero
you
who
believe
knows, maybe
ay,
yeah.
sorry. Yeah,
Who knows, maybe if I put in the wing, baka nanalo din. Who knows?
Actually, I mean, to
Diba?
be
Hindi
honest,
natin
I
masabi.
was one of those who were rooting for you on last year.
Yeah.
Kasi I
Yeah.
believe your work was a crowd favorite.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that when you put me you on last year?
So at first disappointed
Mm.
kasi um ano I was sabi ko I was not expecting to win last year. Pero
Mhm.
deep inside I wanted to win.
Mm.
Siyempre, of course.
So this yeah, very disappointed of course. So
Mm.
that's why this year I never put any expectation in my work. So nung tinawag na yung si Alice na ano tapos yung pangalan ko hindi pa rin natawag kasi I got a text na one of
Yeah.
the winners daw. So I was expecting maybe like a runner up kasi last year I never got a text and I finished third, right?
Mhm.
So and then some of my friends got a text and they got into runner ups like 8 to fourth place.
Mhm.
And they all got a text. So yun ang expectation ko. Mga
Mhm.
runner up lang. Nung tinawag na si Alice second na silver, tapos hindi pa rin na tinawag yung pangalan ko. So I was very excited and nervous at the same time. And tapos yung tinawag ng pangalan ko, I was in disbelief. Nadapa pa nga ako eh. I was wobbly actually.
Sarap.
I
Got that
was
in
wobbly
camera.
walking up the stage.
Yeah.
Kasi of the disbelief.
Feeling ko naman
Yun.
kahit sino naman madadapa at that moment kasi
Yeah.
ninenervyos. I think that's very normal actually. Pero sige,
Yeah.
going back to your creative process, um, do you build in a way that when you're looking at your build, do you think that adding or do you do addition and subtraction when it comes to adding details and subtracting details?
Yeah, with regards to details, yan ang ano, um, more sa adding. Tapos pag hindi ko nagustuhan, pinapalitan ko, ganun.
Mm. So it's a
Like
normal
for
process.
example, oo. Tapos siguro comfortable na ako mag-use ng epoxy na parang ano lang sa parang ano na lang, parang second nature lang na for example, nag-rebuild, uh, rebuild ko yung chest at saka arms, di ba? Parang, ano lang, not so complicated. So, ang ginawa ko, I use, masking tape to cover up the piece, right? Tapos, I oil. Tapos, doon, linlagyan ko yung clay. Tapos, form ko yung armor piece tapos di ba rough pa yun. Tapos kinabukasan I started sculpting na and sanding and adding details, redefining ganun. Yan. So it's a very tedious process pero kasi hindi mo madali kasi you have to let the clay cure pa for like overnight before you can di ba?
Mm.
So yun, tapos I have to use malaki tulong ng mga mini grinder actually. Mini grinder, tapos rotary tool, yun, for detailing.
Yeah.
Mm.
I would attest to that.
Tapos mga bits. Ito gamit na mini grinder. Pang jewelry. May battery pa ito. Yan, battery.
Ooh.
Yan, pang
And that's
pang detailing.
and that's not just yung any
Nice.
other with like what Display is selling, like Hobby Video. That's just a normal everyday tool.
Yeah. Actually, hindi naman siya kailangan na hobby related na product. Actually, yung mga hobby-related product, they also got it from everyday tools and mga DIY tools, mga ganun. Kasi ito pang jewelry. So,
Okay.
wala siya brand. Wala siya brand na hobby brand. So, pang jewelry lang. Yun, ganun. Kasi, tagal na to sa market kaso, hindi lang pang ganda, pang jewelry. And saka mga pang computer, yung mga ginagamit nila sa sa mga motherboard, mga ganun. Pangkat ng motherboard, pang-grind, mga ganun.
So,
Yan.
curious din ako, parang yung thought you're able to determine what material to use. Kasi it seems like you have vast knowledge of materials that you could use for specific.
Oh, yeah. Basic lang naman ang mga materials ko. For example, I got flat plates, epoxy putty. Yan lang. Ano pa? Yan lang. Ang dalawang basic tools na materials ko. Flat plate and epoxy putty. Yan. Ano pa ang ibang materials na ginagamit ko? Mga styrene na stick. Mga pipe. Mga square tube. Mga ganun. For detailing. Pero for general use, clay lang at saka flat plate.
Okay.
It's actually mind-blowing for me. Parang, I think for me personally, someone who's or who's still learning, parang I find it overwhelming. Chef, what do I use for this? What do I use for this? Ultimo nga base, diorama.
Yeah.
Ultimo nga base,
Oo. Maganda yung gamitin niyo sa sa base styro, yung wall putty na ginamit ko kasi after 3 days it hardens like rock, like real cement. So maganda sa gamitin sa styrofoam. After it cures for 3 days, maganda siya.
Okay. Sige nga.
Regular wall putty, makita niyo sa hardware, ganun. So hindi na kayo mag-mix ng cement kasi it comes out of the box or bottle or whatever. Hindi na yun need mag-mix ng water and sand and everything. So
Like this,
yun gamit ko.
like this.
Yeah. You can use it directly out of the bottle or box. Yan. Tapos i-wipe nyo lang. Tapos after 3 days when it cures, pwede nyo mas-sand. It hardens like cement, real cement.
So the lesson
Kasi
here is
pang-
don't limit yourself to hobby items. You can also use everyday items.
So sir,
Galing.
just to clarify. So the base itself, yung shape ng diorama is shaped with styro, and then you put the putty on top.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ang idea ko dyan, originally, it was supposed to have a waterfall pa sana. Kaso hindi ko na lang nagyan waterfall. May waterfall. Originally, may waterfall pa.
Okay.
Yan.
Ano yung mga bato-bato sa gilid, sir? Ano yung naging foundation?
Yung alin?
Yung the
Pwede
walls.
pa, ano?
Yung the walls.
Styro.
Styro din. So
Styro
parang
yung
you just
styro.
stack it up.
Bale, ilang styro yon na 12 inches. Parang cake, tapos sculpt.
Okay.
So, hindi na like, for example, na sculpt ko na each and every layer. Parang yung isang bilog na cylinder, na malaking cylinder, ganito kataas. Tapos sculpt lang na sculpt. Yun. So, take away lang, little by little. Kaya ako natagalan dyan kasi hindi ako satisfied at first. So, I need it to be more dynamic. Yun.
Okay. That's nice.
Kasi yung original na form niya, parang hindi pa ako satisfied. So, ginanon ko, parang may arte na
Tension,
gusto
no?
ko maging dynamic siya.
Yeah.
Tapos it forms like a yin and yang kasi yung fish parang opposing side, tapos yung shape ng diorama isang opposing side din, parang yun ang nangyayari sa actually. Yan. Pag i-view nyo from afar, yun. Kasi yung shape ng isda, pa ganun. Yung diorama, pa ganun. Yun.
And napansin ko yung ibabaw ng rock over there is all Japanese shrine.
Yeah.
No? It reminds me of Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
Ang galing ng concept. And what would you say?
Ano yan? Popsicles.
Ay, sorry. Would you
Yung
is there a time
yung
that you
shrine.
hit a creative block na nahirapan ka and then na burnout ka? What do you do to relieve that?
When that happens, I just sleep on it. Yan.
You just sleep.
Yeah, I just sleep on it. Yeah.
Oh, that's a good option.
Yeah. Kasi pag
The best
nag-work ako pag nag-work ako sa entry ko, daming ideas kasi na pumapasok sa isip. So as you can see, yung before na design ko sa Shinobi, wasn't supposed to be a Shinobi, it was supposed to be a samurai. So on the way na nagbi-build na sa parang gusto ko maging Shinobi na lang, parang ganun.
Mm-hmm.
Yan. It was supposed to be a samurai. Kaya yung Zako Samurai, kaya iba yung design before.
Yeah, yung nga napansin ko nga parang Zaku yung ulo niya before. Then you change it to another head.
Francis Shredder.
Yeah.
So this one, no, you had bronze last year, DBWC. You have gold for this year, DBWC also. Were there other competitions that you joined before?
Wala. Kasi walang competition sa amin dito. Walang masyadong competition. Last year was my first official competition when I joined last year.
Okay. And
buti nga dyan sa inyo, dami yung laki ng community nyo, dami yung competition. Dito wala talaga. Yeah, I have to travel pa to Manila just to join. Tapos kayo na kasi at first mag-deliver ka ng entry mo.
Yeah.
So uuwi ka tapos pabalikan naman Manila sa time. So dalawang trips na back and forth.
In fairness, dedication was her, no? and look at where it got you. You got bronze.
Gastos ka.
You got bronze. Diba? Pero what made you decide to join DBWC?
This year or last year?
Last year, your start.
In general.
What started this inspiration to join?
Wala lang. I just wanted to join to see if makaya ko din yung mga competition ganun. I just wanted to join. I wanted to see if I could do it, And I've been in this I've been in this hobby for so long, pero wala pa ako na competition. So that's why I said that why not join? Yun nga lang, magastos lang, pero naman, very fulfilling. Yan. Sabi ko nga kay Sir Rodel, dapat
sorry.
dito sa Negros, meron din yung mga t-shirt.
Yeah, maybe we could talk to Banki, no? Hello, Banki, if you're watching. Shout out, Banki.
Actually, we work out a schedule before with Sir Rodel. We named it Western Visayas Gun Club Builder. Here in Bacolod. We had a competition here by Banki. It was called Western Visayas, Kaya lang, parang hindi na siguro nagustuhan nila. Sobrang konti lang yung mga participant. Tapos puro sa HG lang yung tapos wala. Siguro na-discourage.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't time yet. Do you think
Yeah.
that you could
Yeah.
influence the
Do you think that
community
you could
there
influence
to get into the hobby?
there to
Now
get
that
into the
you're,
hobby?
now
I
that
try,
Now that you're
parang hirap pa rin eh. Kasi yung, parang, parang, ano ba? What's the term? Yung interest kasi nila, parang iba, yung wala sa skill modeling. Oo. Yung mga kabataan ngayon dito, more into cosplay, mga ganun, mas marami yung nagpo-cosplay. Pero
Oo
sa
nga.
skill model, wala.
Oo nga.
Oo.
Mm.
Especially very tedious work yung mga ano, so yung iba short attention span ganun. Mga anak ko nga hindi ko ma-convince na mag ano eh. Kasi madali silang mapagod.
Yeah, and the hobby is actually very tedious.
Oo.
tedious.
Yeah, when you really go down to it, sobrang tedious talaga.
Yeah.
Yun.
But speaking of tedious,
Kahit
your work
Speaking of
in
yeah.
your work in GBWC 13,
GBWC
your recent entry.
your
We
recent
heard
entry.
that you almost backed
We
out,
heard that
and
you almost backed
somewhat
out,
Sir
and
Alice was able
somewhat
to
Sir
inspire
Alice
you
was
to
able
come back
to inspire
or
you
to push
come back
through.
or to push
What
through.
did he say to you?
Sabi
Parang
niya, push lang bro, push lang. No,
Yun
kasi
lang
sabi
yun.
niya, push lang bro, push lang kasi I was slightly discouraged kasi wala na time actually. Wala na time. I had so much more I wanted to do pero time lang kulang talaga. So ganun. Tapos I started late eh.
Parang di naman.
Yun. Kaya sabi niya, push lang, push lang.
Parang di naman.
Yun.
It looks like your work wasn't even rushed. Eh.
Yeah.
Sobrang pulido eh.
Yeah.
Oo.
I mean, how were you able to manage such,
How were you able to manage
such things, the pressure and
such things, the pressure and everything?
Yung naging priority sa akin yung first thing in the morning, ganun. To be honest. After I drive my kids to school, I come back home and work on it siguro for like 2 hours each morning. Tapos sa gabi, another 2 hours, ganun. And, tapos nung malapit na yung deadline, doon ako nagpapanik.
So how did you manage? How did you manage that How did you manage that kind of panic?
Yun nga, ano lang. Gaya sinabi ni bro, push lang, push. Pero grabe talaga. I created a schedule that every week dapat may natapos ako na ganito, ganyan. Dapat I will start painting on this day of that month, ganun. Parang ginawa ko ng schedule para para hindi ako ma-fall behind. Actually, nagpanic pa ako lalo nung nagkamali yung painting style ko kasi I was gonna use hydro dipping. Tapos parang sabi ko parang hindi ko type yung result. So pinalitan ko pa yung paint doon sa fish. So yun, mga siguro I lost like mga 4 days of work siguro sa kit.
Hydro dipping?
Na yun, lalo na malapit na yung deadline.
Hydro dipping. First time ko marinig when it comes to Gunpla.
Oh, yung gusto ko sana originally was to use hydro dipping. Yan. Kaso sobrang random na it's hard to control.
Right.
Yan. So pinalitan ko na lang. Yan. Pero hydro dipping sana yung gusto ko gawin. Yan. Parang tie-dye, yung nakita mo yung mga tie-dyed shirt, hydro dipping yun.
Yung dinidip nila.
Yan. Kita mo yung pattern random.
Yeah. Okay.
Yan.
Coming from bronze
last year,
were there any lessons that you learned that influenced your work this year?
Lessons that I learned. Actually hindi pa ako natuto kasi late na ako nag-start so I panic pa. So dapat I should have learned at first. Dapat
I
I
love
should have
your
learned that
answer.
first. Yeah, at least mga 4 months in preparation siguro next time.
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
love your answer.
Tapos
Hindi
when
naman
it terms
tayo
to judges, wala akong idea kung anong taste ng judges eh. Sa totoo lang,
Yeah.
wala akong idea yung 'di ba? Yung
Difficult.
taste ng judges. Sometimes random din yung So you can't really tell. Yun.
Actually, when we interviewed the
We
judge,
interviewed the judge.
I think the
Yeah.
number one tip that
The
he
number
gave
one
us
tip that he gave
was
was
he's looking for overall finish.
he's looking for
Um,
overall finish.
Basically, everything has to be silky smooth. There are no errors, especially
There are
like
no errors.
specifically knob marks.
Hmm.
Yun, sobrang critical niya dun.
The cleanliness.
Yung cleanliness and everything. Dapat pulido. Yun yung para sa kanya, I think that's his kind of plan.
I think that's his
Well, if that's the case, dapat si Atan nag-winner. Sa
Si-
totoo lang.
Sino?
Atan. Single
Atan.
media.
The destroy.
Yung destroy.
Actually,
Grabe, sobrang ligis yung pagkaka-custom doon.
Alam mo ba, parang kayong apat yung top 6. Yung kayong top 3 and then si Single Media.
Yeah.
The three of us were debating parang sino mananalo this year. And kasi yung top picks namin was yung kayong apat. And then we just couldn't decide who would place first, second, and third. Kasi,
Tapos ako
naka-favorite
hindi pa ako confident doon kasi pangit ng placement ng ng kit.
Pangit.
Di ba? Parang
Nasa baba.
pangit yung placement ng kit ko sa glass cabinet. Naka-compress pa, di ba? Shared pa sa isang malaking diorama. So,
Right.
walang focus.
Right.
Nawawala yung focus sa entry mo kasi may kahati
Right.
na entry.
And that's one
Yeah.
general tip that the veterans would give us. Na parang, you have to be early.
You have to be early.
And
Yeah.
for you to be able to
And
pick
for you to
best
be able
spot
to
for you.
best.
Best spot.
So, alam mo
Kasi
yun,
that time,
sige sir.
yeah, ano yan?
Sige, sir.
Sige. Kasi when I came there, parang wala na masyadong space sa ilalim kasi taas nga ng diorama ko. Doon lang ko nilagay. Tapos nalaman ko na lang on the later days na pwede palang galawin yung mga palipat-lipat yung mga entries, nilipat yung mga ibang entries, di ba? Just to accommodate the other entries. So, pwede pala akala ko hindi na pwede lipat yung mga yan.
Well, that's good.
And tapos one other thing, yung glass cabinet natin sa Pilipinas,
Sir, nag-choppy kayo.
malaki lang siya yung sa bottom part. Yung middle and upper part, maliliit yung space. Actually. Yeah, di ba?
Yeah.
Maliliit yung space niya.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a missed opportunity na. And I think I've seen
Yeah.
other countries,
I've seen
all of their entries are elevated.
all of their
Hindi siya
entries are
multi-level.
elevated.
It's
Yeah.
not multi-level.
Hindi siya
So,
multi-level.
each
Mm.
entry gets one count. And that's just like countries from
Yeah.
Singapore, I think. Singapore, Thailand. I think they have these kinds of...
Gusto na yung China. Singapore, Thailand, China,
Yeah,
parang
pedestal.
naka-pedestal yung mga
Yeah.
nila.
And I think
Ganda
it
yung
highlights
display. Everything is
eye level,
on eye level.
Para hindi rin judges.
Dito lang yata sa atin yung dito lang yata sa atin na multi-layer like that.
Yeah, it's a missed opportunity, but I think Banky can improve on that also. And now that you've won gold, so let me ask you, what does winning gold mean to you?
What does winning gold mean to you?
What does it mean to me?
As an artist, as a builder?
Parang
As an artist,
of course, overwhelming joy at first. Pero ngayon, parang okay lang. Pero at first, very, very happy, syempre. Oo. Lalo na fresh yung excitement. Oo. Yun.
Ano, sobrang man of
Dati,
your words ka, no? Sobrang man of your words ka, no?
di naman. Kasi, okay lang. Oo.
Okay lang, wala lang.
Kasi maliit lang yung community namin dito. So, parang okay lang. Ganun. Pero personally, I felt when I won, overwhelming joy, number one. Number two, sakit ng tuhod ko. Ay, nag-infection yun, ha?
Yeah, you missed the step there.
Oo, pero okay na ngayon.
Okay
Oo.
naman yun.
Actually, it was a blessing in disguise kasi I'm diabetic eh. It was actually a blessing in disguise kasi because of that, I have a full checkup which I try to avoid all these years.
Oh, no.
Mga wife ko nga, pinipester ako na magpa-check up eh. Yung ganun.
Okay. And napa-check up and
Oo.
then what happened after your check up?
Okay naman.
Okay naman.
Pero
Buti
ano, took some antibiotics. Tapos
Oh wait,
I
nasa
had-
bata. Were you wounded when that happened? When you tripped?
Huh?
Nag-chop in.
Ano yan?
Hello, hello.
Hello, sir.
Was I wounded?
Yeah.
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 Were you injured
Was I wounded?
when you tripped on the stairs?
Were you injured?
Yeah. It was a deep
Oh,
cut
no.
actually.
Oh my
We
God.
didn't know.
Dito na lang sa Bacolod na ako na-realize na deep cut pala.
Oh,
Oo.
shit.
Oh.
Yan.
Oh no.
No.
And we heard
No.
you missed your flight going home.
You missed your flight going home.
Yeah. Because that was the first and last I'm going to book on Air Asia because they changed the flight schedule in the afternoon, which we are there is an ongoing ceremony in GBWC, and tapos nang ginawa nila 1 hour early, so malaking difference na yon. Grabe pa
Oh,
nga yung drive ni Alex ni Arcom para just to make it in the airport kasi yung layo pa.
Oh.
Tapos pinagalitan ko yung wala naman siya magawa kasi yung hindi naman flight. Ano ba yung receptionist ng AirAsia? Oo.
Yeah.
Kasi
Yung
galit na
staff.
galit ako bakit ginalaw yung schedule. Wala naman siya magawa. So only thing she could offer is baka daw makapasok pa ako sa PAL na flight. So I bought another ticket worth 7,000. Oh,
Kasama niya si Sir Alex.
bad trip.
Kasama niya si Sir Alex.
You were with
Si Alex of Arcom, he's the one who drove me that time to the airport.
Oh. Shout out Sir Alex.
Yeah.
Shout out Sir Alex.
Shout out Sir Alex of Arcom Komodo. Oh.
And sir, I think
Kahit
Alex is also from Bacolod ba si Sir Alex?
oo.
Ah.
Ilonggo din.
Wow.
Oh.
Pala siya. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kababayan
Yeah.
pala.
pala.
Oo.
Bale sir, after winning gold, do you see yourself join
other
Yes, PSMS next year. I wanted to join because I wanted to meet like sila ni Kenny Lim, si Iday, yan yung mga legends sa sa Asia. Yan
Nice.
yung mga idolo natin yan. Tapos maybe join another GPWC next year.
GBWC next year. And speaking of GBWC next
Yeah.
year, do you already have a concept in mind, or are you already working on a project?
May concept art na ako in mind actually. Yan.
Meron, gusto mo bang i-share? Content teaser?
Exclusive.
Basta inspired by a legendary artist din.
Young.
Oh.
Yan lang masabi ko. Legendary artist din yung inspiration galing.
Have you started?
Oh,
Ay,
yeah.
wait.
Painter.
Mm.
Yan. Painter
Sige,
ng mga fantasy, ganun.
Sige, hanggang doon lang
Fantasy
tayo.
painter.
Hanggang doon lang tayo.
Di pa kayo nakapag-start, sir, sa next.
Ha?
Have you started working on it na?
Wala pa.
Wala pa.
Ah,
Mm.
concept pa lang.
And
2 months ulit.
in mind. Mm.
and what advice would you give to those who wants to join the
Join. Go ahead and join. Masaya mag-join.
Of course, time management.
Nakaka-overwhelm. Time management. Pero join kayo mga especially sa mga gusto mag-join na hesitant on joining. Join kayo. Ako nga bakulot pa eh.
Tignan mo,
Oh.
you see, guys from how many kilometers away from Manila joins GBWC on a yearly basis.
Yeah.
Lilipad
Yeah.
pa.
Diba? And
Dapat
he
nga
spends
bumili ako malang
for
dapat nga bumili ako ng malaking garapon.
Garapon?
Yeah, gawin ko akansya everyday 20 pesos for GBWC plane ticket. For GBWC plane ticket. Malaking jar.
Tapos, sir, when you pay, no, yun yung dadalhin nyo.
Yeah, in coins. Bilangin nyo.
Tapos yung attention nila, alukin mo.
Oh, shit.
Yan.
So, sir, speaking of, no, kasi you have advice dun sa mga bagong builders. When it comes to newer builders naman, do you have anything in mind that you wish newer builders would focus more on?
My builder would post.
Your newer builder would focus more on yung saan dapat sila mag-focus yung mga bagong builders ngayon.
Yung mga bagong builders,
Mhm.
I would suggest na mag-think sila out of the box, creativity nila. Huwag sila mag-rely too much on the manual. Especially sa mga yung for me pinakamahirap i-influence na mag-think outside the box is yung mga I'm probably gonna be hated for this, pero yung mga purists may mahilig sa kung ano lang yung sa box. Yun. Especially yung mga anime.
Right.
Mga anime na mahirap mag-diversify or mag-think outside the box kasi kahit yung mga specifications ng armor specs dinidefend pa nila eh. Fantasy yun eh.
Yeah.
Anime yun eh. Tapos may mga science behind it pa sila. Mga ganun. Yun. They have to think outside the box if they wanted to create pero hindi naman tayo lahat we're not all the same builder, yung build style. Meron talaga yung mga gusto for collector, tapos merong gustong mga artistic approach, ganun. So ako, for me, I belong to the more artistic approach. Yan.
Sa mga local builders na yan, yung mga artistic, yung mga ganyan, sir, do you have anyone in mind that you feel like someone who deserves more recognition?
Dami sa atin, di ba? Kaso nga lang, yung iba hindi na nag-enter ng dami yung mas magaling pang mag-build sa akin actually. Pero yung iba hindi lang nag-compete or hindi nag-join sa competition. Dami actually. Sa PSMS makikita mo dami palang magaling na builders. Kaso nga lang, yung sa GBWC restricted kasi daming rules. Daming restriction sa rules. Yun. Whereas sa PSMS, free for all yata. Kahit wala yata sa brand, open sila to any brand. Di ba? Yan.
Okay, sige sir. Moving from, you mentioned that sobrang busy, kinukulang ka ng oras.
Think outside the box lang.
Ay. Sige, sir, you mentioned earlier kinukulang ka ng oras
You mentioned earlier,
for
kinukulang ka
your
ng oras
GBWC. How do you map
for your GBWC.
your
How do you
kasi
your
you recently
kasi
opened a
you're-
bar
you recently opened a bar
and
Yeah.
you are
and
also
and
managing
you
other
are
businesses, I think?
managing other
Correct me if
businesses,
I'm
I
wrong.
think.
Yeah.
And you're also
Yeah.
building.
And you're
you're
also
doing
building.
commission work.
You're also doing commission work.
Yun nga, yung sa commission work, sobrang tagal ko na. So, swerte lang ako siguro na yung mga clients very, patient with me because sobrang tagal ko gumawa ng mga commission nila. Yan.
And also a little trivia, no? Sir Kim here is also a
Sir
member
Kim here
of
is
the
also a member of the
Mega
what?
Commissioners Club. The MC
Yeah.
Mega Commissioners
Yeah.
Club.
Mega Commissioners
So
Club.
together
Yeah.
with Sir Alice.
Together with Sir Alice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how do you manage
And
all doing
manage
all these things?
doing all
Right,
these things.
you're a family guy.
You're a family
You
guy.
are managing
Yeah.
a
You
bar.
are managing
you
a bar.
commission work.
You are doing commission
After
work.
that, you're
Yeah.
joining
After that,
competition.
you're joining competition.
Yeah.
How do you manage your time?
How do you manage your time?
Competition, I'm just fresh in the competition team in the Philippines. So, yeah, that's it, once a year. And as for my gunpla work, I do it I'm most productive early in the morning. Yun. From after I drove my kids to school, I come back here, drink coffee, and as I do my coffee, I do tinkering. With the
Tinkering.
gunpla.
Mm.
Yeah, and by 10 o'clock, I go to the office, and then by 12 o'clock, I go to one of our business location. Yeah. Tapos in the afternoon, I pick up my kids and bring them home and go to the bar and come back home. Yan. Pero during night time, hindi ako masyado nagwi-whip ng minsan lang. Mas productive ako during the day, early in the morning.
Pagkagising, sir. Ganun. When you wake up.
Kasi yung sa studio ko dito, pag gabi kasi mainit din eh.
Yeah.
Yun.
Yeah.
It's actually
Tapos daming lamok.
It's actually distracting.
Outdoor kasi to, outdoor. Ayan, para makita nyo.
Yeah. Room tour.
Yeah, outdoor, kitchen.
Oh, okay.
Itong portion, ginawa kong hobby area. Yan.
Nice.
Tapos yung roof ko, ayan, extended na roof lang. Yan.
Okay.
Nice.
Yan.
Nice.
Yan ang studio.
Ganda.
And we could take inspiration from this.
Halos,
You take inspiration from this one.
halos lahat dito, I built it myself, yung carpentry work.
Oh.
Nice.
Yung rack, ito yung display case, I built that. And yung rack, I built that. Yung table, ako din gumawa. Yung shelf,
Wow.
And is that your paint?
yan.
booth?
And is that
Spray booth, yeah. Yan.
So DIY din yung the suction or the
Spray booth?
exhaust.
Yeah.
Yeah, DIY lot.
Nice.
Alright, sir. So, let's go back dun sa Killers 2.0 bar.
Killers 2.0 bar? So,
Was owning a bar something you always
Parang actually I wanted a gym.
Okay.
Yan. Pero mas I don't know actually I don't have the real answer to that because it was kind of also I wanted a bar pero it was more on the impulsive side of me that got me to get a bar. So parang okay lang at least Pero I love that bar from ano many years ago. I always go to that bar because
Mm.
it's the only real bar here in Bacolod na bar talaga yung team na
Ah,
Irish pub. Yun.
Irish pub.
Irish pub.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yun yung style niya.
Yung parang
I can't
it's
wait to
not
go to
that
Bacolod.
noisy.
Can't wait to go to Bacolod.
Tapos parang you can talk pa din while drinking, while eating.
Chill lang, chill lang.
Pwede,
Chill, chill.
pwede ka umupo.
Pwede ka umupo.
Oo.
You know what I want to do in those kinds of bars? Just sip
The
on
bar,
the count
just sip on the count.
and then just chill.
Yeah.
And then the bartender in front will just refill all my.
Just refill all my
Yeah.
Chill
They do that.
reload.
Reload.
Yeah.
So sir, yung Drillers to
Actually, that-
yung Drillers
like
2.0, it's not like,
go ahead.
Ano yan? Go ahead.
Sir. Yung Drillers 2.0 sir ba?
Drillers 2.0, sir,
Is it like
is it like
Martin where
sport
you
Martin where you nagpo-broadcast kayo ng mga kunyari live games,
live stream games ganun.
live stream games, ganun.
Ano lang siya, bar lang gid. Bar.
Bar lang.
Yeah. Pero I'm planning to put on sport channel in there because wala pa hindi pa nagkaroon ng internet, so wala pa, mag-a-apply pa lang ko ng internet connection. And yun, para may meron kaming panonood kasi meron ding TV doon eh. Pwede din magamit sa mga sport channel. Yan.
Okay. So sir, sa mga sinabi mong mga ginagawa mo on the daily, what does a normal week look
Does a
like?
normal week look like?
For me,
Hmm.
routine lang yun yung pag may klase, gising sa umaga, send the kids to school, go back here, do tinkering and Gunpla stuff. Tapos 10 o'clock I go to the office, tapos go to the other office, tapos in the afternoon I pick up the kids and go home. Yan lang. Kasi yun lang ang daily routine ko, wala naman masyadong Kasi yung Bacolod kasi maliit na small city lang. Hindi kagaya dyan sa Manila, laki ng mga city, so you have to travel long distances pa to get from point A to point B, di ba? Dito
Yeah.
maliit ng Bacolod eh.
Yeah.
Yung problem Bacolod, it's traffic. Grabe ka traffic talaga.
Nagta-traffic na. When I was there, I
Ay,
think
sobra.
6 years ago, I think I was there. I don't know, sorry. 10 years ago, I used to, I was stationed in Iloilo, Bacolod. I didn't experience much
Yeah.
traffic before. But now it's more traffic.
Siguro private cars would outnumber public transportation by tenfold siguro.
Wow.
That much. Yeah.
But it shows the city is, it has progress in the city. Everyone's own.
No,
Everyone's
not
own
really.
car now.
I wouldn't really call it progress because ang traffic hindi naman yung sign of progress. Kita mo yung Japan, Hong Kong, grabe, Singapore. Very
Good
progressive
point.
yung city pero walang traffic kasi maganda yung public transportation nila, di ba? Yan ang keyword ng public transportation dito sa mga parang walang system yung public transportation dito eh.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's so much to improve.
Oh.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, good point.
Dito lang sa Bacolod makakita ka actually Bacolod has in a number of cities in Visayas, Bacolod has the most gasoline station in one city. I think. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Almost every corner there's a gasoline station.
Mm-mm.
No, I'm curious.
As much as there is 7-Eleven, there's also that many gasoline stations. That's how many cars here are. Grabe car sales na rin mo. No. Pero public transport, wala talaga. Wala system to public transport.
Sir, let's go back dun sa techniques.
techniques.
So, you said you've
So,
done
you said you've
sculpting.
done
Of course,
sculpting.
you've done painting
Of
and all
course, you've
that.
done painting
Meron pa ba
and all that.
kayong mediums or
Meron pa ba
techniques
kayong
that you'd still want
mediums
to
or
explore?
techniques that you'd still want to explore?
Yeah, ng 3D printing, wala pa ako, hindi pa ako nakapag-try 3D printing na ako mag-sculpt. Kasi nahihirapan ako, hindi ako marunong digital sculpting.
Mm.
Yun.
Mhm.
Ibang areas, ibang wide range naman lang dapat mo ma-learn dyan sa digital sculpting. So mas ako sa by hand eh.
Mm.
Yun. Mas sanay ako sa by hand. Kasi mas gusto ko sa traditional sculpting. Wala nang pasikot-sikot pa. You just directly sculpt with your hands.
Mhm.
Sa digital sculpting kasi dami ka pang pag-aalala ng mga dyan, lalo na pag hindi mo alam yung mga hotkeys dyan. Yan, very time consuming. Oo. Siguro, yung learning curve mas malalim sa digital sculpting.
Are there any
Yun. As compared sa
collaboration-
sculpting lang alone.
Ay, sorry. Are there any collaborations like you like to do? Like with Gunflower outside?
What was that?
Are there any dream
Are there any
collaborations?
dream collaborations with like
Either within Gunflower or
within
outside of
Gunfla or outside of that?
Collaboration with the person or with a modeler?
Yeah, person, maybe with a studio, maybe. Or
With a studio collaboration.
Hmm.
What do you mean work with?
Work with. Would you? Yung dream collab mo?
Ano na?
Sino yung dream collab?
Dream collab. Sa ngayon, siguro si Edite tsaka si Jun Rem.
Idol talaga niya si
Anti-branches na yun.
si
Oo.
Bernard, no?
Kasi gusto ko yung build style niya eh.
Right.
Yun. No. Tapos magpapaturo ako paano siya mag-paint ng freehand ng ganun yung pattern, sabi.
Yeah.
Hirap nun.
Yeah.
Oo.
You're big fan ka talaga.
Baka tattoo artist din siya, no? Kasi alam ko mga tattoo artist magagaling dyan eh. Mga gumawa ng pattern.
Oh, sir. Yeah. Or
But I don't think
monthly illustrations.
Yeah. Good collab. And so, but sir, you know, as an artist, as a builder, someone who has been making in the community. In the long run, how would you like people to remember or
how I would like people to remember what?
describe your work? How do you like to be
Remember my
Remember or describe your work.
I don't know. Hindi ko pa naman napag-isipan yan. Pero,
sobrang chill talaga ni sir.
Gusto ko lang parang unique lang, ganun. Yung art style, parang unique. Yan lang. Kasi every entry, hindi ko gusto kasi iba't ibang parang surprise na judge kumbaga. Kasi kung for example, matagal ka na nagbi-build tapos you develop a certain art style or build style, di ba? Or build signature. So when I enter again, I want them to like to keep on guessing kung ano naman yung gagawin, gano'n. Kasi hindi ko gusto na yung build style ko parang predictable. Yan. Ayaw ko hindi ko gusto maging predictable. So, yan lang. Chill lang. Parang explore more areas tapos inspiration gano'n.
Keep them guessing.
Yeah, keep them guessing.
Be unpredictable.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. And ako, curious question. Out of all the kits that you built, I can see you have a lot of kits behind you. Ano yung favorite kit?
Na build ko,
Favorite kit to build.
custom or snap, straight build,
Any.
any.
Hmm.
Favorite,
Overall.
yung, wait,
Marami. Marami to. Sir, may konti ko sa likod ko.
hindi, mga snap lang yan. Yung, siguro yung EXS, one of my favorite. Oo. Kasi sarap sa mata sarap tignan. Yan.
Good point.
Kahit kahit naka-standing stand lang sa sarap sa mata. Oo.
Yeah.
Tapos yung yung hindi ko pa na paint pero maganda yung Mark 5.
Oh.
Kahit out of the box lang maganda yung Mark 5.
Interesting.
Maganda din sana pwede kaya isali yun, GBWC. Ibantay kasi. Alam ko sa other countries pwede.
Basta may sticker, di ba?
Basta, actually, pwede mo siya kasali. Pwede mo siya kasali. Basta yung isang kit at dapat may sticker.
Ganon. Parang minimal sa yung other kit, yung majority sa build mo, ganon.
Basta yung main kit mo, yung may Banky sticker ata. I think.
Parang kukuha ka lang ng mga bits and pieces.
Yeah, I think I saw someone who Bandai Outcome. So, yeah. Baka ganun yung ginawa niya.
Pwede naman siguro, no?
Okay, sir. So, since Eric, ano yung favorite kit mo na na-build? Tatanong ko naman sa'yo, what kit or what you'll never build again? Na hindi mo na uulitin.
Yung hindi ko na uulitin.
Yeah.
Actually, hindi siya ganda. Alam mo yung metal X na Transformers na Megatron, pinagawa sa akin before.
Okay.
Yung puros photo etches lahat, tapos i-cut and curve mo into yun, hindi ko na ulitin yun. Never again. Yung Megatron, grabe.
Wait.
Hindi, nandyan. Yung mabibili mo sa Temu,
Yun ba yung flat na bakal, sir?
Yun, yung mga flat na etches, photo etches lahat. Tapos i-build mo. Sakit sa ulo. Sobrang sakit sa ulo, actually.
Sakit din sa kamay, sir.
Sakit din sa kamay.
Masakit sa kamay.
Flyers.
Tapos sakit sa ulo, sakit sa mata. Kasi shiny lahat.
Okay.
Tapos yung mga markings ng numbers at letters, sobrang liit. You have to use magnifying lens. Yeah. So, yan, ayaw ko na yan.
Okay, sir, thank you so much. I think that's all our questions for today. We are looking forward sa next entry nyo, sir. And of course, good luck, sir, sa GBWC sa Japan.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Sir, when are you flying to Japan? When are you flying to Japan?
Sabi Feb daw pero hindi pa ako naka-receive ng email. Sabi mag-i-email lang daw mga around December. Yun. Kasi they're gonna take care of all the ticket and the passport daw. Yan ang sabi. Pero wala pa akong confirmation kung ano yung exact date and the exact details on the ticket and the passport.
Kailangan pa ng visa, no?
Yeah, so need pa ng visa. Yun nga sana ako gusto tanungin kung yung ticket ba good for 2 or ako lang. Yan. Kasi hindi ko pa na-confirm na if good for 2. Kasi sabi ni Mark Christian, good for 1 lang daw. Yan.
Yeah. I think
last year,
it's also good for 1.
Good for 1 lang.
I've seen other vlogs of foreign builders. Parang 1 lang talaga.
1 lang. Kasi nakakalimutan ko tanungin si Arvin yung last year's winner kung good for how many people yung
Ticket.
yung trip.
Yeah.
Yan.
Ayun. Any last message you'd want to say, Eric, Miguel?
Yeah.
What I said to
Mr. Alex,
Tingin talent.
tingin talent.
Penging talent.
Penging talent.
Penging po talent. Penging we need that.
How about you, Eric?
Sige.
Any last words you want to say to Sir King?
In terms of being talented, actually I don't consider myself that talented.
Oh, stop it.
Kasi para sa akin parang
No.
hindi kasi talaga parang parang siguro parang second nature lang kasi sa akin, parang mga yung mga basic skills lahat naman yan so lahat pwede matutunan yun. Siguro
Okay,
time
so-
lang siguro yung kailangan. Oo.
So, babaguhin ko yung sasabihin ko. Sir, penging second tour.
Sir, penging second tour.
Kasi lahat ng mga yan, it can be learned. So basic lang lahat.
Practice lang, no? Ay,
Sir?
naghang na si Sir.
Sir?
Hello?
Hirap
Ayun,
turuan yung mga hindi interested actually.
Okay, sir.
Yo.
Before we end, where can people
Yung
find
mga-
your work?
Sir, before we end, where can people find your work?
Yeah. Liquid Form Studio on Facebook, and I also have an IG, Liquid Form Studio, but not so much active on IG. Mas more ko active sa Facebook kasi natatamad na ako mag-post multiple accounts. Totoo lang.
Ayun. Thank you so much, sir. And congratulations for hitting 10K.
10,000 followers?
Oh, thank you.
Followers, I think.
10K.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. And if you enjoyed this video and interview, don't forget to
Don't forget to
like, share, and subscribe. Again,
like, share,
we
and
are not
subscribe.
just
Again,
building
we are not
Gunpla.
just
We are building
building
something
Gunpla. We
big.
are building something big.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Bye. Thank you very much.
Perfect Grade Podcast.